Здравствуйте, уважаемые участники. Рад вас приветствовать на вебинаре по теме создания и развития стартапов. Меня зовут Джумабжаев Курмаш, являюсь исполнительным директором компании Optima. Данный вебинар организован компанией CA Intermediary Limited совместно с нашим южнокорейским партнером iPlus Center в лице директора мистера Дениса Бумсо Кима, который сейчас поделится своими знаниями по указанной тематике. Учитывая ситуацию с распространением вируса и вынужденным карантином, мы посчитали, что данная сессия поможет нашим гражданам, заинтересованным в создании и реализации собственных инициатив, сделать первые шаги к своей цели. Это наша первая совместная онлайн-сессия. В этой связи для нас очень важна обратная связь от вас. Мы открыты для ваших оценок и рекомендаций в плане предложений по тематикам и формату проведения последующих мероприятий, для того, чтобы сделать последующие вебинары эффективными и полезными для наших слушателей. Хочу поблагодарить всех партнеров, которые помогли с организацией данного вебинара. Надеемся, что вы почерпнете необходимые сведения и сможете применить их на практике. Хотелось бы сделать небольшой комментарий по поводу формата сегодняшнего вебинара. Вначале предлагается прослушать небольшую лекцию от нашего спикера мистера Кима. Затем будет Q&A session, то есть где вы сможете задать свои вопросы касательно стартапов. Уже после лекции, краткой лекции, наш спикер мистер Ким постарается на них ответить. Свои вопросы можете писать в чат, затем пойдем через них и ответим на эти вопросы. Сейчас я, получается, передаю слово мистеру Киму. Hello, Mr. Kim. I'm making you host now, and you can go on with your presentation.
Okay, hello, Kazakhstan. So I don't know if I can hear all of attendants. Hello again, Kazakhstan. So I'm sorry, there might be some technological problem here. So I hope all of you can hear me very well. So I'm sorry, but I cannot hear or I cannot see your response here. So and then I cannot see your the faces, or I cannot hear your voices. But anyway, please send me any question during my presentation about the introductory session of how to prepare and how to start up the startups. So before I begin, let me introduce myself a little bit. I'm Dennis Kim. Of course, I have my Korean name. And then I have PhD in chemistry. And after getting my PhD in Korea, I went to Poland to work as an assistant professor in medical university. And then I'm coming back to Korea. I started my career as a business consultant. So my main area is biotech, and chemical industry, and the incubation. So nowadays, everyone is talking about startup business. So while doing that, I was appointed by a Chinese university in Fujian province as a professor. So I am now working as a part-time professor in that university, belonging to School of Mathematics and Information Technology. So here in Korea, I'm working for a company which is dealing with startup ventures with technologies. And we also have a small fund to accelerate startup companies in Korea. And then I also attended a Korea government project, which select foreign startup companies from all over the countries in the world and invite them to Korea to be trained and to be consulted for several months, and then arrange meetings with venture capitalists. So in the eventually, I really want some of you or some of your colleagues to apply to that program and to come to Korea to start a real startup business. So in the end of my talk session this today, I will introduce briefly about that program too. So as I told you, this session is quite attributed to introduction of startup companies. I assume that most of you already are aware of what startup company is and what startup businesses are. But this is a kind of pilot session for all of us. So I just would like to give you some outlines and then nutshell of what startup company or what startup businesses are. And then later on, if we can have a chance to continue these sessions, then I will introduce and I will tell you what we should prepare and what we should focus on and what we should aim for successes of starting up your own companies. I don't know how many of you are already in startup businesses or are preparing for the startup business, but I wish the good luck and good fortune to all of you to succeed as an entrepreneur in business world, in which the competition is very big. So during my talk, you can send me any request or questions so that I can reply you back. Let me try to do that. Actually, using Zoom is my first experience for this type of lecture and meeting. So I am not so used to and good at using this program. So if you feel bored, if you have any good ideas to do this session, so just let me know. You can just text me. So most of the time in this session, maybe showing you some slides with my voice, then it might be kind of the boring. But anyway, let me try hard to communicate with you as much as possible so that I can sense your response and I can respond to your responses. So just a minute. I would like to share my slides. Okay. Today I'd like to actually I wanted to share some ideas with you, but I don't know how to, communicate, how to interact with each other in Zoom. So my friends in Kazakhstan from Optima Consulting company will help me out. And then if you know how to do it, then just let me know. So as I told you, today's session is just to introduce what startup company is and what a startup business is. So this program is prepared by Optima Consulting in Nur Sultan, Kazakhstan, and also partly by Nazarbayev University. And my company's name is iPlus. So briefly speaking, when you think about a startup company, I don't know what ideas you have, but startup company is defined as a company in the very early stage or just in the stage of preparation for operations. What do you think about the main purpose of any kind of business? I assume that is making money, making profit. So without the way to make money and profit, we should not call that a business. It's rather the service or volunteer. So in order for you to prepare to make a lot of money out of startup business, you should prepare a lot of things at the same time, and you should prepare yourselves to do this business. But anyway, the definition of startup is quite varies. So here, I'd like to tell you about the definition of startup company is in the first stage of operations. So this term is important to capitalize, to make your ideas and knowledge into money on developing a product or service. So in order for you to start a business, you should have a product or you should have a proper service. So many people easily think about having a product, but it does not have to be product. The service is also okay. So later on, I will show you the list of the startup companies here and there, and then many of them are dealing with the services, and many of them providing just services. And then startup companies are quite young. So most of startup companies are only 5 years old or younger. And then they are ready to fly. Some startups just started up a company or business even without entity, just with an idea. They are ready to fly. So a Merriam-Webster English Dictionary calls a startup as a fledgling business enterprises. So in order for you to fly, you should have fledges, feather, and you should have muscle, and you should have energy. So all of those things you should prepare for startup company. And then for you to start up company, you should find a problem or problems for you to solve. To solve a problem means that you should provide solutions to your customers or to the society. So to solve a problem, you need the creativity. So when we are talking about startup companies, we refer to vertical innovation and horizontal innovation. For startup company, whether you should focus on the vertical innovation. Vertical innovation means create something new. So you should be a creator. You should be a creator for the new world or better world, or you should maybe create the idea that nobody has done before. So with a solution for problems, with a creative ideas, your company can start. But it is only a temporary organization, because when we define the startup, please remember that this is just a temporary organization, because you should grow further. And then you are now studying or working in Kazakhstan, but you don't have to focus. You don't have to limit yourself just in Kazakhstan or surrounding countries, so-called Central Asian region. So your idea might be the global one, and your idea or your products might be the world favored ones. so that you should have a global ambition to go global with your product, service, and ideas. And then, as I told you before, you should kind of create or invent of technology for helping people. So this the picture I just took from Google, but the small invention is by a Japanese. So this little fan just cool down the noodle for anyone to eat them very freely. So I don't mean that this is a kind of state of the art technology, but I want to tell you that your technology or service should be creative. So based upon your solution and your service, your creation, your ambition, then you can find a investor. So when you start a company, you can have angel investors. Usually angel investors are your family or your friends or your, the very, very, the close people to you, or angel institutions. In some cases, government fund play the role as an angel investor. So I don't know if Kazakh government have this kind of program, funding program or no, but in Korea we have. Or your idea or your product or service are excellent, you can lure the venture capitals for your company. And then when you grow up, when you sort of graduate from startups, then you can invite private equity firms to invest a lot of money, so-called 30 or 50 or 100 million USD to your company. Then you will be the millionaire. And then for startup, you always think about how to grow. The growth is the key. So even though you have a very good idea and very good service and very good product, what if nobody can accept it in the market? And what if nobody would like to buy or would like to have your service or product? And nobody cares. And then you fail. So the growth is the key. Here, the growth does not mean that you have 20% or 30% or 50% increase of sales revenue. In some year of time, so I told you that startups are referred to companies whose age is only 5 years old. So when we talk of the growth of the startup, you should think about 200%, 300%, or 1,000%. So that is a growth for startup companies, not 20 or not 30. 20, 30, 40% of revenue sales growth or net profit growth is for small and medium companies or very big companies. And then in order for you to achieve such a growth, you should find a repeatable and scalable business here. So here, I'd like to focus on the term scalable. You should scale up. You must scale up your company or your sales revenue or your profit. So this is closely related with escape velocity. I believe that you understand this term. To get out of the Earth's gravity field, you should have the proper level of escape velocity. So in order for you to graduate the shell of a startup, so you should have kind of escape product, service, or idea to grow further, to grow into a real company like Alibaba or like the Google or Facebook. So based upon your service, product, and creation and everything, so now you should think about the organization. So startup is a human institution. This is very important term. So later on, I will tell you about why we should focus on a human when we are talking about the startup companies. But startup company is a human institutions to deliver a new product or service. And this is also the term that every startup company should bear in mind. Extreme uncertainty. No one knows if you are successful or if your products are accepted in the market. This means that you should always think about the type of principle that the greater risk, the greater reward. Okay, so this is why the many of startup companies just start with the seed money or angel investment. Sometimes they start their business just with a few hundred USD dollars, and even 1,000 USD, because the risk is very high. So when you take the more risk, so you could have higher chance to get higher return, but nobody knows the probability. I mean, the chance is very low. But if you want to increase the chance, you should have proper technology and proper understanding of the market and the service. So as I told you, startup is different from small and medium-sized enterprises. Small and medium companies are already in a kind of a right orbit, right track to do their businesses. Not all of them have gone through startup phases, but anyway, if you have a proper, the size and then the proper organization, and as we said earlier, the proper escape velocity, then your company turns to be one of small and medium enterprises. So let's look at why and why not the startups are successful or no. So first, you should have engineering. Engineering is related with products. So you should maybe have breakthrough technology or the service that nobody has thought before, and the right timing. Even if you have very good products or very good service, what if the market does not need it? So it is very good to think about timing. So in timing, I will tell you later about the timing of your product and with some examples. And the monopoly. Monopoly means that your product, service, or the idea is very unique. And I have to say this repeatedly, but nobody has had that before in the market. So then you can monopolize. So you can be the only one in that market for some years. So pretty soon, you are going to have your competitors here and there. But before then, 1 or 2 years or 5 or 6 years, you are going to monopolize the market. So I don't know in Kazakhstan how you could monopolize the Kazakh market or Central Asian market. But anyway, when you would like to start have your startup company or business, just think about that. How long can I be alone, or can I be the only one to have this product or the service? And then the people. And the people are very important. So when you start your company or the business, you may be the only one in your company. It is okay, but anyway, you should have some partners and you should have some friends, who can help you. Or in your company, you can have 3 or 4 people. So they are your colleagues. So, but they should be as able as you are. Otherwise, the team to fail. So when you talk about startup companies, we think about how to grow and how to develop or how to improve. So there are three different models in startup companies. Um, the first one is mama stages, and then the second one is customer developmental, and the third one is funding stage. So all of these are have a different perspective in development of startup companies. So in Mama Sage's model is dealing with your service or products and your ideas. So it um, is grouped into several different phases: discovery, validation, efficiency, and scale, as you see. And then each phase has different developmental steps for you to grow. So later on, I think you can find more information on internet. But in discovery phase, you should define your product and service and technology, and then you should validate it or validate them for the probability or the properties for market, and then you should think about efficiency. So assuming that you have very good idea to produce a IoT device, but um, in the case that it is very hard for you to manufacture it in Kazakhstan, and you should import a lot of components and parts from outside of Kazakhstan, that it will it will make your products have a very high price. Then your products cannot be sold in your market, and then scale. As I told you, here you can see the growth aggressively. So even though you have a very good product and service and ideas, what matters is that you should sell them. And there must be some people who are buying your product and your service. So you should always think about your customers in the market. And in customer development markets, this model is dealing with your customer. So this is a customer-focused model for startup to grow. So you should first try to find customers, where your customers are. This means that who are going to use your product or service. And then the second is that the validation tool, and how many people and how many customers are using your product and service. And in the case, at the same time, that you should think about how to increase the number of customers and how to create new customers. This means that sometimes, some startup companies have just the product for the just certain group of people, the disabled or the blind or the deaf. But in the end, passing through the phase that for the first developed product, you should think about how to create the other group of people who can use your product or service. And then company building. I'm sorry. And then the funding model is directly related to the how to fund and from whom to fund. So as I told you, first, you can just start with seed money, usually from your family or your friend or government or university fund. And then when you are a little bit successful, then you are going to enter into the early stage funding. Early stage funding, it depends on what industry you are, but usually deal with $500,000 USD to several million USD. So that is early stage. In some cases, like biotech companies in the USA, in early stages, they could raise the fund up to 30 or 50 million US dollars, but that is quite rare. So usually, biotech companies raise a huge amount of funds. But when you are dealing with technology, you might have to think about maybe several million US dollars for early stage funding. And then if you are successful to develop and to sell your products or service in the market, then many of investors are interested in your company. And then you might be think about the Series A round. So actually in passing through seed and angel round and early stage, Series A and B and C are investment stages before you go public. Going public means that your company's stock is traded in the stock market. I'm pretty sure that you also have a stock market in Kazakhstan, but most famous one is Nasdaq or in Kosdaq and Sasdaq, dealing with your technology companies, and then other big companies stocks shares are traded in the other market. So Series A, B, and C are very important. So when you get Series C funding, then as I told you, you are thinking about going public. So open your company to public, and public people. Basically all of people can buy your shares, and that they can be a shareholder in your company. And then I'd like to tell you about the successful startups all over the world. So here you can see some industries. So you can see the various types of industries dealing with big data, cybersecurity, fintech, and healthcare, and VR, even an AR. So most basically all of technologies now can be an engine for any startup companies. So it is okay for you not to have a very good technology, but keep thinking or keep asking yourself about your idea, and then keep searching the relevant or similar ideas in the world. So that as I told you before, you should find a way to be creative and to be monopolizing the market. So successful startups, many of them, Tesla and Amazon and Airbnb and Lyft and WeWork. 2 or 3 of them already are now suffering from financial problems, especially WeWork. But anyway, the others are doing very good still. So if some companies are dealing with technology like Tesla, and then some companies are dealing with e-commerce like Amazon, and then on-demand services are dealt with Airbnb, Instagram, and Lyft. So here you see in this on this slide, you can see many companies are dealing with rather than service, on-demand service. But please remember that technological companies have much higher value. And according to my search, just correct me if I'm wrong, I just try to find some successful startup companies in Central Europe region. So Latvia and Georgia, Armenia, Uzbekistan, and in your countries, there are several startups which are very successful. So in your country, I don't know if I'm right or no, but the WebTotem and Utbasi, they are dealing with this solution services, and then the microfinancing things. Most of them in this region are dealing with services. In Korea, I'd like to introduce several unicorns. So we have a variety of startup companies and industries for startup companies. So some are dealing with e-commerce like Coupang, and some are dealing with on-demand delivery service, food delivery, like this one and this one, the yellow mobile. And then also this company is selling the cloth, the fashion items, and then its value is huge. So some people think that fashion items must not be or cannot be a startup company business, but they are doing very well with their own idea. And then financing, fintech companies here, and then also this one is a application for you to find the suitable accommodation, hotels and motels to stay. These are startups in Korea. So we have many startups in Korea, but just a little compared with the USA and then China. So you are already aware of the big names in startup of businesses like Uber and Didi, Chuxing, and Alibaba. And when we talk about the success of startup companies, we refer very often the unicorns. So unicorn is a company with a valuation, not sales revenue, valuation over 1 billion USD. And then we also have, because many of startup companies just go beyond 1 billion USD value. So we could call them the decacorn with 10 billion USD valuation and hectacorn and 100 billion valuation. So when we continue these sessions or in some, the classes or lessons, you are going to learn what company valuation is. So valuating or the value a company is not easy thing. So it considers many factors. But for startup companies, the most important factor to decide your value is technology and idea and some service and product. Just with an idea, you can raise several million USD. But even though you have a very good product, it is not marketable in your target markets, then its value is nothing. So please try to think about your value. So your value always should be considered by you in a value chain. So every product and service and every the ideas can be trained, from the first one and the last one. So when you try to find your value in the value chain, we call that the positioning, value positioning. So you should understand your value and your positioning in the market and your positioning in supply and demand chain. Then you can understand what to produce and what to sell and what to develop. So here we have several industries to come or already in the market, which are very prospective in terms of business. So some are dealing with the bio healthcare, like pain management, longevity, and tuberculosis, like coronavirus. And the others are dealing with this technology, the AI and intelligent beam steering and driverless cars. And then some are dealing with environment. I think the Kazakhstan has much potential in terms of natural resources and then environment. And based on them, I think you can find a proper service or technology to go global. And then nowadays, most of startup companies are dealing with these several technologies, including AI and blockchain and e-commerce, and even food and beverage delivery. Mainly this is related with delivery and fashion and software for companies and transport. So whatever your technologies are belonging to one of those groups, here again, the important thing is idea. There are so many companies and there are so many competitors in the market. But if you think that you have less number of competitors in your market, but still you should be very careful. So I'd like to tell you about the startup company's mindset. Okay, so you should have an energy and the soul. This means that you always think about the success, and you should not be disappointed very easily, because you are the leader in your team, and you always have to cheer your people and encourage them. And then also you should think about business models. And then you should take care of organization soul. This means that all of your teams must be one to do a project and to pursue the one aim. And then this is also very important. You are the one to have such a mindset to go from 0 to 1, 0 over 1 more exactly. Your colleagues should be the same as you. So all or nothing. So this is a very important mindset for startup company, the people. And also you should have motivations, and you also should have the proper aim that the money is not a great idea. I mean, as I told you before on the first slide, the business main purpose is to make money, but that's not always be the only one. It means that you should try to find a way to help people. To help people, you can create the money and you can contribute to your society. So behind every fortune is a great crime. This means that you should just lead the team, and you should think about the others, and you should encourage your colleagues, and you should also cheer up your people. And then when we are talking about technology, so as I told you before, there are so many technologies in the world, but as you see here, the only search engine companies, just 10, their values are much, much, much bigger and larger than top 10 airline companies. These, companies just have technology, and these airline companies, they have airplanes, which is very expensive. But when we compare the values, the top 10 search engine companies have almost 10 times bigger value than on top 10 airline companies. So this shows how important is the technology. So you should think about to be competitive all the time when you do your business. So here I just wrote that you must begin by studying the end game. You must think that you are always in the end game. I think all of you might be, not all of you, but many of you are big fan of the Avengers. So you should please just think and react and behave and plan just like you are in the end game. So in order for you to do that, you might have to have a monopoly, as I told you before. Not just one, okay? So several ones. So you should keep thinking about the next product and next service and next phase of growth. And then please remember that your value is in the future, even not now. When you have your business, you might be suffering from financial problem and many problems, but your value is in the future. That's what startups for. And then please overvalue your growth rate and undervalue durability. This means that you always think about how to grow. And then try to find the product or service that make you grow, make your company grow. Not forever anyway, but in the time of the development, you should find a way to grow with your products and services. And then also you should think about yourself and your products and your service should be the breaking through ones. This means that you sometimes you are the only one to have that product or service, or you have the only one to grow your company or your business. So anyway, all of these things push you to be the only one in your service and in your market and in your technology or product. I know this is very hard, but at least you should be a one or two in the market, then you can monopolize the market for the time, just for a certain period of time. You cannot last very long. Then as here you see that you should think about the second one. So it might be okay for you to think about making several tens of million USD, and then you should stop working forever. But that's not a good way for startup companies to have in your mind. So please keep thinking about how to grow and how to develop and how to be the next one. So in Korea, many of the venture capitalists prefer to invest their money into companies which has a CEO who has experience in success and fail several companies before. Then venture capitalists can trust them. So I hope all of you can be such an entrepreneur to succeed in your business once. And then for you to prepare your startup, there are several key factors. I don't want to read all of them, but you can just find these or hear this from other people or from the website. But the important thing is that you should think about fast adoption. So, in a year or two, you can have a very good technology and leading ones and state art of the ones. But pretty soon, you will have competitors in the market. Then they might have a better technology than yours. So don't be satisfied with your technology or your service or products. If your customers like them, okay, let them like it. Then you should find the other or the following or more developed or improved technologies. Otherwise, you should fail. Because here you see 90% of all technologies by startups or startup themselves to fail. The chance is 10%, but in reality, the chance is quite lower than 10%. So please think about the successful rate of the technology, the less than 10%. And then please keep this in your mind. The better was so ferocious, so hard to survive. Because you might think that the market and stakes are very plentiful, but the market is so small. I don't mean that the market itself is not so small, because it means that you have many competitors pretty soon, even if you are the only one now. So you should be ready to grow, or you should be ready for other ones. And then when you think about startup companies, you should think about your value, and you should think about your ability, and you should think about your specificity, authenticity that nobody can do. You are the only one to have this idea and to be creative. So, And then timing is the key. Even though you have very good technology and very good service, as I told you, market should accept it, and the customers in the market should buy them. So this is quite the famous diagram for timing for critical mass. But this is an example of that. So I don't know how many of you are aware of the Palm Pilot. This is a kind of small handheld device. You could write a memo, and you could save the phone numbers and some information. But this didn't sell very well because quite expensive and heavy, and then the battery performance was too limited. Just 2 or 3 hours of using, you should recharge it again. I have an experience. And then right after iPhone appeared in the market, the mobile computing, I mean the mobile device market, grew exponentially. So then we had Android, and now the market is still growing, even though we have slow growth for mobile device. So when you start up your company, or when you start up your new business, you might be here or around. But when you think that when you think that you are here before you start your business, and don't start your business. Don't do that. At least you should be here. And then when you have a big leader like iPhone, then you can be on this growth line for critical mass growth. So this is one principle that you should keep in your mind. And then even if you have a technology like iOS, when you have an Android type of competitors, you should add or improve or develop more on your iPhone. So please remember, or please look at what the Apple companies are doing and have been doing. And then for you to do your business, as I told you, it is very important for you to have a proper partner, proper team, or sometimes you might have to have a co-founder because of a financial problem, or because of the ideas or patents and everything. But it is very important to choose right person. Everyone can start, and everyone can get along very well when they do start up. But when you start to making some money, and when your company starts to grow, so the partnership starts to break. So they have you're going to have cleavage in relationship with your partners. That's not good. So it is very important for you to choose a person as a partner, or as a co-founder, or as your team member, who have this type of the traits, I mean personalities. So they should understand your technology and your idea, or they should realize your ideas into reality. And then sometimes they should very tough to do some business, but at the same time very reasonable. And then they should be determined as much as you are. And also they should be willing to join your risk. Otherwise, your people can keep asking you to provide something. And also they should be dedicated to your company and to you, to each other, and then a very good communication skill too. And more importantly, they should be creative, as much creative as you. And then these are what you should do as a founder, as a owner of the company. There are so many, so I hope you to have a chance to read them up later. You please remember that you are the leader, that you are the one who encourages and who benefits and who cheer up to your people. So you are the one. So your people can follow you because you are the leader. So don't forget. So you are very important one. Maybe you are the most important one in your company. So you should always be confident, and you should always understand what you're doing, and you should always have a good communication skill with investors or with your customers. So later on, I hope to chance um, to talk about how to do investors relation, or so-called IR, the pitch. So the pitch is almost everything for startup companies. But in order for you to give a good pitch, you should be very confident, and you should be very knowledgeable, and you should have the leadership. So when a venture capitalist have a meeting with you, that they can sense how much confidence you have, and how much knowledge you are, and how much um, how good leader you are. And then please remember that you cannot, um, you should, sometimes you should work for 20 hours. So um, many of startup company leaders work very hard. And then this is a kind of the conclusion of the introduction of startup. So for startup, you should have ideas and long-term thinking. So long-term thinking doesn't mean that you should last long with your products and service. You should keep thinking and keep improving. And you should love your people, and organic growth is needed. So please try to read this later. And then this is the steps for a startup companies to be successful in the end. So you should live in the future, and you should find what is missing now to be creative, to have a product or service. And then through these steps, then you can be a successful company leader, or you should be a very good leader in your company. And then when you are preparing, or when you are doing your business, I'd like to introduce K-Startup Grand Challenge by Korean government. This is organized by, I'm sorry, NIPA, NIPA. And then this program basically invites startup companies from all of the countries. So they select a certain number of teams. Last year, we had 40 teams. So I took care of 12 out of 14. So when they are selected by Korean government, they I'm sorry, they come to Korea for 3 or 4 months. So Korean government pays you the flight tickets and the living expense for 3 or 4 months, while you should work in the office provided by Korean government. And then in the end day, you are going to have the demo day with Korean venture capitalists, and you can get a chance to get some fund. So if you are successful startup companies in this program allows you to stay 6 months longer. So it means that government is going to give you the 6-month fund more, so that you can do more business in Korea. So I hope some of you are applying to this program. Usually this program is announced in February or March, but because of coronavirus, it is postponed. So maybe this program would start from September or October this year, and I hope some of you can apply to this program and to come to Korea to meet me and work with me. So this is the thing that I would like to tell you today. And if you have any question, just let me know. So I have many questions here. So I am so sorry. I cannot read any Russian language. So one competitor just asked me a question that Korean startup companies running in South Korea or in foreign markets. Now on the slides, the companies on the slides that I might show you today, one or two have operations out of Korea, but most of them are running their businesses in Korea. Okay, so a founder should not try to hire, means that if you think, so just assume that you are a owner of a company, you are a founder, then you need people. In this case, you are going to hire people, but don't think that you are hiring people, even though you are paying them, even though you are a boss of theirs, but please regard them, regard your employees, regard your people as your partner. This means that. So when you think that you are hiring people, then you are the boss and your people just work for you. But this is not the philosophy of startups. Startups, the people in startups should work all together, and they should be in the same starting line, even though you are leading, you are the leader. I mean that leader here does not mean that you should go the first, and then the other people are following you. Instead, you should push your people's back in the direction that you want to go. Okay, and the other question is that how do the team dissipate the work? So when you are successful, then you should think about how to share the profit, between yourselves. So in this case, that you should be very, cold-blooded, and then also all of successful. All of success should be shared with your team or by you. Okay, so please be successful in treating your people nicely too. Okay, so it is a good idea to get some, idea from the foreign companies and applying it to your market. It is good. But in this case, you should think about several things. First, that idea you get from a foreign company should be very unique in your market and you are the only one. I mean that just copying. More easily speaking, don't be a copycat. Even though you have an idea, you get an idea from the foreign companies, you should adopt something and you should develop it into a new one in your market. So when you use existing ideas from the other companies, then in 2 or 3 months, you're going to have a competitor. So in that case, you should have a strategy to beat your competitor. For startup companies, in Korea, we have both ways to get grants from government and private sector. So it depends on you. It depends on your technology in Korea, but I don't know exactly the situation in Kazakhstan. So I'm very sorry not to answer you properly. You might have to talk with the optimal, consulting company who hosted this session. So for your reference, Korea government is spending almost 20 billion USD for R&D, for researchers or for startups and for companies. So when you have an idea, please try to think to have patent. Patent is everything. So, some people are worrying about patents that can be copied. When you announce the register and when you file the patents, you can worry about, that some people just are copying your idea. But just think, the patent, when you have just an idea, some venture capitalists and some funds just value your company or your business based upon your patents. So having the registering or filing patents are very important in this case. So in this is very interesting question. So one attendant just asked me about focus or direction after this coronavirus situation. So now, because of coronavirus, every biotech company is rushing for developing vaccines and the cure. And then coronavirus is changing our way of life. So most of people are accustomed to this type of online meetings and chattings. And then I think not me, the many experts think that IoT can be the more important in our lives to monitor and to communicate through online, not offline. And then here in Korea, because of the virus things, their the food delivery, anyway, the so-called delivery companies' revenue sales increases a lot. And when people is accustomed to order any goods, foods, and products online, then they would keep doing that, not going to the supermarket and not going to hypermarket. Instead, they can just hold up their smartphone and computer to order something. So I think the delivery service and on-demand service would be enjoying the good period of time for the time being. So I don't know if your country is so huge, so I don't know if such a on-demand delivery services can work or no. But for the time, I think in many countries, the ordering foods and ordering things would be quite favorable. So-called homemade the food. So where to look for co-founders? It solely depends on it depends on your the relationship and network, and then your aim to develop the products and service. But please try to have a co-founder who understands you very well. It is okay for you to have a co-founder who who has not known you before. But in that case, the relationship is based on a contract. So it might not be a good idea for you to find a new one as your the partner or co-founder. So co-founder can be also a government or the fund, the seed fund or venture capital or something. If those the government, if government or venture capitalist or funds can be your co-founder, it is okay because they just put their money and they just help you to grow. So I mean that just hiring people, just inviting a person that you have not known before, and then you pay him or her to work with me as a co-founder, then it might easily ruin the relationship with you. So please try to find anyone you can trust first. The trust is everything. So any other the questions? So I just wanted to speak very slow, but in some reasons, I just spoke quite in fast way. So I'm very sorry. So if you have any question, you can just ask me. Okay. I have one more question. Okay, so this is a very insightful question. So about online learning and distant learning. So nowadays, almost every schools in the world are experiencing such an era for online learning and distant learning. So in Korea, every school now provides online classes. So students and teachers are accustomed to those systems now, but not quite well. So educational organizations, um, I think this is quite a prospective the field of business when you think about the startup, because many of the companies are now the unicorns in so-called education technology sector. So they have several types of ed tech. So most of them provide online learning. But online learning is quite simple. You can just use Zoom and you can use just the other applications. But the problem is for online learning or ed tech, your idea, how to teach, what to teach, and when to teach, and how to make people understand your about your education the program. So countries with a huge area, I mean in terms of land area, could think about ed tech as one of a prospective startup business. Okay, sorry Kumash, I think I'm done, and you can yep.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Kim. Really appreciate your effort in bringing up this session today. It was really informative. I hope all the participants got the information
Yes.
they were looking for, maybe to start their own startups, maybe for development. Your offer to attend the Skate Startup Grand Challenge, I think is really interesting. And we have like a representative from NURIS University who might use like the advantages of it. Maybe like establish good cooperation with you in the future. Uh, would like to thank you and all our participants. Please, we would appreciate your feedback. You have the email, like our company email, that you can send your feedbacks and maybe to like let us know what are the topics that will be interesting to have a webinar in the future. Maybe some recommendations on the format. Maybe you have some questions that weren't asked or answered today. And Mr. Kim is always like we're in contact with him, and we will try to keep this things running in the future. Thank you very much for everybody. We'll see you later.
Okay, thank you. Rahmet.
Thank you very much.